I've been wrestling with the idea of death since a long time, and the idea of not being able to feel any sensation, to not have any memory, to not have a breath. Let's do one thing. Let's take a deep breath right now. Try to hold your breath for a minute. You can pause this podcast or audio clip. Just try to hold your breath for a minute. What did you feel like when you were holding your breath? What do you feel like right now? You're gasping for, you're aching for that kind of air to fill your lungs. Is that what it's going to feel like to want life after death? Or is that going to be a deep slumber where you will not have anything to be afraid of, or you will not want anything, as a matter of fact, and it'll just be nothingness, pure nothingness. The idea of nothing is that it's still a thing. That's why it's something, and nothing is also something. The entire idea of nihilism is nothing has meaning, and the paradox of nihilism is nothing does have meaning because it's nothing, it's no thing. So the entire concept of everything is useless and everything is meaningless is also meaningful. Is that going to be how we counter the fear of death? Now that we've thought a little bit about death, let's try to imagine what it would feel like if we lived forever. If we could invent a potion that could make us live forever, or if there was an anti-aging pill that made us live forever, would you like to be alive forever? Would there be any meaning to do anything? Because right now in life we're told to get a job, do something, have purpose in life, get married, have kids, have best friends, take care of your family, have a pet, go on vacations, see this entire earth for what it is, because nature is so beautiful, because time is fleeting, because it's getting away from us, because it's fleeing, because death is approaching us. All this is meaningful. But if we take death out of the equation and we can do this whenever we want, is there going to be meaning to do anything in life? So the question arises is, meaning can be devoid of meaning when you don't assign meaning to it. Whether death be in the equation or not, there will be absolutely no meaning to anything if the meaning doesn't arise from inside you. You can understand what I'm talking right now because you know English. You can't stop these words from having meaning right now. You are comprehending these words because you know the language of English, and the words have meaning in themselves, but put together in a coherent sentence, your brain can formulate the essence of the idea of what is being spoken. So I guess what it means is there's going to be meaning in everything, but that of which you assign it. There might be meaning in living forever and being immortal, and there might be meaning in death. The stars in the sky have got their meaning by illuminating the dark night sky. A swing has meaning because the wind blows on our face and we feel happy. There's pleasure in having wind strike across your face gently so as to make you calm. A clock has meaning because it gives you the essence of time, and time is valuable to you. I'm able to record this podcast and it has meaning because there's going to be some kind of seed which is planted in your mind that you can think of, and from that seed every single person who hears this is going to have different plethora of ideas that are going to be sprouting from it. So there is going to be meaning of life, meaning of words that are going to be assigned to that plant, that of which you give it. I guess in the most dire and dismal scenarios, humans can find meaning because that's how we are built. That's how we are built, to look for challenges, to find meaning in them, to overcome those challenges, to have a sense of meaning or belonging, and kind of a sense of accomplishment that we have done this together, or I have done this, or I have found meaning in this. Because at the core of every single human being, it's our primal instinct, survival. So it's going to always be self-centered. Humans, we are always going to be very self-centered, and to be altruistic is going to go against our nature. In a do or die situation, if you were to save yourself or your friend, who would you save? You are obviously going to be saving yourself, right? And I guess not only humans, but it's a primal instinct of all of all animals, of all conscious living beings. And the idea of consciousness is also so weird that there are a bunch of neurons in your brain right now that are aligned in a certain way, that are sending electrical impulses through each other, and your neurons are not even connected. They are very, very small distance apart from each other, and electrical impulses give rise to consciousness. And what is consciousness? Because when you're dead, there isn't going to be no consciousness. So the entire purpose of death, or the meaning of death, is to not be conscious anymore. Consciousness is arriving out of something which is not real, if you want to go through the scientific way. But if we look at it from a spiritual way, you have a soul right now that is going to guide your brain, that is going to derive meaning for your own soul and for your own body. But which way do our neurons have to be aligned so that the soul can derive meaning for itself? Or how do we actually arrive at a conclusion based off of which assumptions so as to have meaning for our own soul? And that is to think if we in fact do have a soul to begin with. And so essentially, if your own soul is going to be arriving at a meaning for your own soul, you are going to be creating your own reality. The consciousness that is cooked up in your own mind is going to be by your own mind. If you touch something right now, it's just because your consciousness tells you that you're touching this particular shirt or the bed sheet or your pant or anything. It's the fact that you can feel the breath or you can hear the birds because your consciousness is telling you. And when you're not there, there will be no consciousness. But the meaning that has been previously arrived at is, for that present moment, always going to be there, irrespective of what the future holds. Today, as of right now, when I'm speaking this and when you're listening to this, the fallacy of death, the fear of death, is not going to be applicable right now, as of this moment, because these words cannot be stripped away of the meaning that you can give them, that you have the power to give them. Sure, it would be amazing to be able to live forever and see how much progress humans make in how many ever years that the earth survives, or even if we do shift to different planets or solar systems, it would be amazing. But someday it has to come to an end, does it not? Someday, if after 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 or 1,000,000,000,000 years, and consciousness will end at that time. Time and again we found civilizations that might have been before us. We have speculated, our scientists have speculated that the universe has been around for so long that they would have risen to power, they would have had control of the entire galaxy or surrounding galaxies, and they would have come to an end. Because at the end of the day, we cannot outmaneuver nature, we cannot escape a black hole, we cannot, if there's a burst of dark energy right now, we cannot handle it. Our pea-sized brains are so tiny that even if billions of us combine together, we can still not stop nature right now. So I think even after 1,000,000 years of advancement, we'll never be able to fight off black holes or dark energy. So someday, hypothetically, this has to come to an end, and we already know that reality is our consciousness perceiving it to be real. So throughout 1,000,000 years, imagine and just let your imagination go wild about what we could do as humans. And if you close your eyes and you just think about it, and if you tell your conscious self to think that right now, how is it going to be different from actually experiencing it? Because reality, as we discussed, or as we know it right now, is just a result and end product of consciousness telling itself that it's real. So that way you can imagine what it feels like to live forever and be able to die. Because I think we can all agree on this, that in our generation, in another 50 years, we will not be able to find an immortality potion. Or even if we do, it's going to be like the vaccine. There are going to be millions of people lined up for it, and there's a very low chance of us being able to receive it. So there's beauty to understand the concept of death and to accept it for what it is. We may not be able to defeat death, but we may be able to find meaning in it. We may be able to find meaning in everything in life, so as to at least relieve us from the sting and poison that it entails. And I genuinely hope that we as a civilization are able to find our meaning within ourselves, because we have the power to do that. And I hope this gives us some kind of motivation to do good in life, so as to end up at a net positive when we do say goodbye to this world. That's it from my side for right now, but I hope you liked it, and I'm really open to suggestions to talk about any topics, so please do let me know, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.